What is the biggest misconception of you? What's one thing people think about you, but it's not true?
Well, people think I'm like this huge sex symbol, and they think I'm like, she's a vixen and she's so sexy, but I'm really corny. I'm not. So that's one misconception about me. People look at me like this huge sex symbol, but I mean, I may look like that, but deep inside, I'm really not. I'm kind of laid back, humble, and like really ambitious.
Have you done like any vixen type things, any sex symbol things that would garner this misconception other than the way you look?
Well, of course. Like, I always had a plan, though. I'm a college graduate. I did a lot of urban model magazines. I've been in videos, of course, exclusive, rated R pictures. But, that's some of the things that would consider me a vixen. But I always had a plan on what I was going to do after, I got everyone's attention. So that was my plan.
Why not continue going with that? Some people make that into an actual living.
Because it's not my passion. Like, I'm more passionate about inspiring people, about products, my lipstick line, about my Live Freeze t-shirts, and making a difference at the same time. But I do like being sexy. I am a woman. So, I just used it to my advantage.
When you say you don't have a passion for it, did you at one point and may have had a bad experience with something and that kind of turned you away from that lane there, or?
No, it was just like, okay, imagine just trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. And it's just like at the same time, and when you're doing business and marketing, you have to what? You have to have a following. So I always knew that, okay, once I get a following, I could pretty much do whatever I want to do. So when it came to me, like, okay, Crystal, you want to inspire people to be confident. You want them to be free because, you're pretty much naked on pictures. You're confident. You're free. So it's like, why can't I do what I want to do and still be, this inspirational person and sell products and do whatever I want to do? So, I mean, I got to that point and I kind of laid off a little bit. But sometimes if I do feel like, hey, I'm looking sexy today, I'll take a picture.
But at this point, you don't do any more videos or?
No, I haven't done a video in quite a while, but I do take pictures to keep my sexy relevant.
Now, when you did videos and vixen type things, did that start before college or was that during?
Well, after college, a lot of people don't know, during college I was an editor of the magazine. And when I was at Straight Stuntin' magazine, I was the editor of the magazine. I was typing the stuff, loading the pictures, and I said, hey, look at these girls, like, I could do it too. And like, for 2 weeks, they're like, whatever, Crystal, because I was a basketball player. Everybody looked at me like, a tomboy. And I'm like, well, if they could do it, I could do it too. So finally, they let me do it, and my following started going up and up. So at that time, I didn't know I wanted to be this big entrepreneur. I didn't have these passions yet. So I just took pictures. I sold my own calendars, my own merchandise with my pictures on it. I did whatever that came to me.
And what college was it that you actually attended?
I went to Felician College in Lodi, New Jersey. Yeah.
And was that something you did right after high school? Do you take a break between high school?
No, I did it right away because it's like the way I grew up in the Bronx. It's kind of like if you don't go to college, you're a loser. So it's like it wasn't like I was forced, but I kind of, in my mind, I wanted to be successful. I wanted to reach the highest mountain. So I'm like, everybody says I have to go to college, so I'm going to go to college. But when I went to college, it's kind of like I went to play sports. I was a basketball player. I had no real subject that I was interested in. I just knew that like everybody says, you have to go to college. So I went to college. I did what everybody said. And when I was finished college, I was just like, damn, like, I don't want to, I worked in a bank for 2 years. I'm like, hey, I don't want to be a banker. Like, I want to do creative things, but I have to figure out what I want to do. So I just started my own lane. Like I like creative stuff. I like pictures, I like all kind of stuff. So I just started doing whatever I wanted to do.
Now, you went to college on an athletic scholarship?
Yes.
And why that school? Because I'm sure you could have had another option as far as schools.
I suffered from a lot of injuries. Like, I know you can't see my knees, but I have 2 ACL injuries. I had one in high school, and I had 6 games into the season my last year. That's one of the reasons why I didn't go pro. But 6 games into the season, I got injured and I tore my ACL again. So like throughout high school and college, I had a lot of injuries. So I actually went to Rutgers for 1 semester, but due to my injuries again, I didn't get any playing time. It was taking too long for me to get back, where I used to be. So I wound up going about probably low D2, starting 5, full scholarship. So it was a catch. So I'm like, okay, you're banged up. You still want to play sports, so you can just go here, dominate, and then maybe you could go overseas. So that was my plan, but it kind of didn't work out. But
So what was the original school you went to before Rutgers?
I went to a Christian school, a prep school actually, Redemption Christian Academy in Troy, New York. It was very strict. We had to wear long dresses, cover our necks. It was a very strict school, but that was my way of I thought I was going to the WNBA. In my mind, I thought I could go to the NBA. So I was like, all right, if I go here, I'm going to the NBA. I want to play with the dudes. Like, so if I went to prep school and follow all the steps of the pros, like, okay, I'm gonna go pro.
And what level is that prep school you went to?
I think it was about ranked the highest, one of the highest in Albany.
No, but as far as division.
Division, I think it was Division 1.
Oh, so the prep school was D1.
Yeah.
And then how long is that before you actually attend Rutgers?
Well, right after high school, everything was very consistent with me. I played basketball since I was, 10 years old. I started a little bit late, but everything was consistent. I played in tournaments. I practiced every day. Woke up in the morning, everybody was asleep. That was my passion. It was basketball. But when things, made a little U-turn, I kind of had to figure out, what's my next step? Like, who's Crystal now? You can't play basketball.
But as far as clarification, you attend this prep school, that's the college first that you attend.
No, actually, prep school is just like, okay, prep school is still high school, but in short terms, people who play basketball, they go to prep school to excel faster. And prep school is mostly focused on basketball. I had no real classes. All my classes was on a computer. I traveled playing sports half of the time. So it's a focused basketball school to get you, to college level, to send you on to the pros. So that was my, that's what I was doing at the time.
So I guess that's where the confusion is. I meant, what was the first college you actually attended?
The first college was Rutgers College for
Okay,
one
so
semester.
that was the first one.
Yeah.
And that was a D1 school.
Yes.
The prep school is not a D1 school.
No, but in high school ranks, they do have ranks of
Okay.
high schools and prep schools and things of that nature.
So that was a D1 prep school?
Yeah, pretty much. And the level of basketball for their region, they were like 1.
So you start out at Rutgers, you're 6 games in the season, and that's when you tear the ACL.
Yeah.
A freshman year.
Yeah, I was crushed. Like I watched this, I watched it on TV, the games, growing up. I felt like, okay, wow, you're at Rutgers now. Like you made it. You're going to the league now. And then I got injured, and then I had to go to Felician College.
So explain why you chose that school. Why couldn't you just continue at Rutgers?
Because I felt like it was important for me to go to school and get a scholarship. The school was offering me a full scholarship to go to college. I was injured. It's very hard as an injured basketball player to get other schools looking at you now, because they're looking at you like a liability. You're okay, what's gonna happen now? Your knees, your ankles are gonna break now? Like, she's a liability. So it's just like whoever wants you, you kind of want to go there and, do your thing and hope for the best.
But you were on a full scholarship at Rutgers originally.
No, half.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I went in half. It was a kind of walk-on thing.
Oh.
It was a walk-on thing. It was a big college name. It's a school that I dreamed of going to. So I went in there and I gave it all I had, and they picked me up. So it wasn't like they came and recruited me and looked for me. It's something that I wanted, so I went for it.
So explain that process then. You get injured. This liability feeling you're talking about, that's something that the team and the school kind of gives you that feeling, or that's something that, you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Kind of like a lot of people who play sports, they know, like, once scouts and people see, like, you're injured, it's kind of like, oh, you're damaged goods. It's kind of like, okay, we want someone fresh with no injuries, people see your height, coaches see your height, they see you, they already have plans for you. So it's like now you're injured and banged up. All they're thinking about is, dang, she's going to get injured again. And she's going to be, she's going to be no use.
But when you get injured, they don't just peel off that half portion of that scholarship, right?
No, not right away, because everything is on contract. Let's say for your first year of college, big colleges like Rutgers, they may say, oh, for one semester, you got to prove yourself. For one semester, we're going to give you this. We let you walk on to Rutgers, so you better show us so we can show you the money.
I see.
So it's kind of like, you got to show what you could do.
And if you would have excelled, let's say this ACL didn't happen and you excelled, could you have gotten a full scholarship eventually from Rutgers instead of the half situation?
Yeah, if I would have showed them what I had, it's all about your skills with, playing, what people see.
So how do you get this full scholarship from this other school? How are you approached about it? How do they give you this offer? Aren't you damaged goods to them?
Well, not necessarily, because I'm 5'10". You got to look at my height, and their division is smaller girls. They're looking at me coming from, high school, averaging a triple-double. They're looking at me that I'm going to be the biggest person in their league. So that's what happens with sports. The lower the level, I'm a bigger person. I'm coming from D1 now to D2. I'm going to dominate automatically, whether I have an ACL or not. So they were looking at it as an advantage. This is a big girl. She's 5'10". We're going to bring her, to D2, and she's going to dominate.
I see.
Because she's bigger, she's more talented, and, I was pretty much a little over the lead for that division.
Now, how do they give you this offer? You got to heal yourself from this injury first?
Well, honestly, I got the offer maybe after, first semester got injured. Second semester, I didn't even want to go to classes. I was sick. Summertime comes around, I start getting, I had the coach helping me. I start getting some calls or whatever saying, hey, Crystal, we got this person interested, but this is the best option for you. So I met a guy who's like the head coach of Tennessee now. His name is Coach Shuttles. I met him, and he was just like, hey, come on here. We're going to make sure you're good. We're going to get you, up and going with the right therapy. We believe in you. So I just took that step.
What coach was helping you? The Rutgers coach?
No, this new coach.
Oh.
For some reason, he just really believed in me and what I could bring to the table. So I'm just like, hey, I'm banged up. He believes in me, so I'm going to go with what he got going on.
Were they the only school to offer you a full scholarship after the injury there?
No, I actually had a school here. I think it's called Emory College. Emory College offered me a scholarship, but being from New York, I never been that far away from home, so I was just like, I'm not moving there. I don't care. So I stayed upstate. I was a little bit more comfortable. But that was another school that I had an option of going to that I can remember. Because
this is your second ACL injury, and was this the same exact ACL that you injured the first time or no?
No, it was a new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was there any thoughts on just quitting basketball and just hanging it up after the second ACL situation?
Actually, after the second ACL injury, I got injured again my last year of college. And then that's when I started getting into the modeling, because I knew in my mind, all right, Crystal, now you can't play sports no more, but you still want to make money. So that's when I started to use my sex appeal to make me some money. I did, the magazines. I had my own calendar called Changing Lanes. I was just trying to find my way. So it was definitely a big transition from being an athlete, playing sports all your life, being a tomboy, to going to be a vixen now, to now being an entrepreneur. So it definitely goes hand in hand, but it's definitely a challenge. A lot of people judge you. They look at you like, okay, because let's keep it real, half naked, I love my body. I play sports in my life. If I want to show it, I show it. But it's a lot of people look at you from college like, hey, Crystal, what's going on? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And it's just I have a plan. Let me execute my plan. So it's definitely difficult, and it's a huge transition from going from a tomboy to an injured basketball player, from a vixen to an entrepreneur, still / vixen. It's very hard.
So the first two major injuries were ACL injuries. What was the third injury that you suffered that senior year?
My senior meniscus. So that's a whole different ligament. Yeah.
If you would have recovered from that injury, could you have tried to walk on, so to speak, undrafted maybe into the WNBA type of thing, or play overseas, or?
Yeah, I actually have a lot of friends that play overseas, so I definitely know I would have made it overseas, but I just didn't want to go through being injured again and, you know, going through that whole process of going through therapy, trying to get your body back strong. That's, you know, overwhelming.
Did you lose your passion for basketball there after that third injury?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did. I kind of like, dang, like I did all this stuff to get to my last year in college. I didn't even care about college, and now I'm all banged up. So it's like, forget basketball. like now I want some money.
I want to break a few things down before we move further in the conversation. You injured your ACL one time, two times. Was one ACL injury worse than the other? Was the high school ACL injury worse than the college ACL, or?
Well, I think the college was the worst. It took me, I remember a year later, I was wearing heels. I went out, I was trying to be cute, and my knee shook. So it's like everybody's looking at me like, damn, look at her, but my knee was like, like I couldn't hold my knee up straight. So I'm like, dang, like I gotta get back to, you know, even if I'm not playing sports, I gotta get myself strong. So I started working out and getting my, you know, knees back strong.
Was it easier to deal with since you had already had the experience of tearing an ACL the first time?
It definitely wasn't. It wasn't easier. It was just like, dang, like, come on. Can I get a break?
And how long was the recovery the first time in high school?
Well, that's back in the days when ACL injuries was like when they had the brace from here all the way down. So about 5 years later, now the surgeries got more, you know, got better. So the brace was from here to here. So it made it easier to be mobile, get around. So the first one was definitely hard because they didn't have the stuff that they have now, you know, to, you know, sustain.
How long did it take for you to recover back in high school from that injury?
I would say about 8 months.
And then in college, how long the recovery?
About college, I say fully, I didn't really do the recovery because I was like low-key depressed. So I did therapy for like 3 months, but then a year later, I had to do my own, like I did my own therapy for about like 6 months to get my knee back strong. So initially, I didn't do the therapy how I should have, so I had to go back and, you know, do some more work later. So I say that took me about a year and a half, almost 2 years to get back.
And then what about the meniscus injury there?
Well, that's, with the meniscus, they kind of replaced my ligament, so it's like I just had to, you know, keep working at it, make my knee was so stiff, I couldn't really like, you know, bend my knee or do anything. So it's just like being mobile. That wasn't really a long recovery.
How long do you think, give or take, rough estimate?
Maybe like 3 months.
Hindsight 2020, did you make the right decision by not continuing the basketball path?
Yeah, I feel like I did because it's a point in your life where you gotta know like, okay, enough is enough. Like it's time to go to the next level. Like you've already been injured 3 times. You know, it's gonna take you about a year or 2 to get back to where you used to be. Okay, what's the next plan? So, yeah.
What did your parents think?
My parents has always been supportive. Like my mom's just like, she doesn't even ask me she just knows like, all right, Krista, whatever you want to do, like it's gonna work. Like, I know you love basketball, but you gotta figure something else out now. So they just felt like Krista was gonna come up with something else. Like this is not it.
What did they think about the Vixen path there for that time you did?
Well, my dad's an island guy, so my dad's always been like, well, my daughter could wear whatever she want to wear. She want to wear that? Because people would come to him and be like, well, you know, like trying to embarrass me or try to like insult my dad. Like, oh, look at your daughter. But my dad was just like, oh, my daughter can wear whatever she want. Like, he was just like, he didn't care. In the islands, they walk around with no shirts on. So my dad was just like, she's hot. So I was like, I mean, I didn't have no issues from my dad. I could say that.
What about mom?
My mom was just like, oh, you look good, but what the hell are you doing? Like, like she's older, so they don't get like, okay, you're trying to promote yourself as a sex symbol. She just didn't understand, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm modeling, and this is my lipstick line, but this is what I'm trying to do. So I had to really explain it to her. It took her a while to get it, but she never was judgmental, so.
And also, too, on those 3 actual injuries, can you say how you actually, what you were doing when you actually injured those 3 body parts there?
Well, I could say I went to...
Start with the high school one.
The high school one, that was the one that I actually do remember. Like I said, I went to kind of like fake. I went to jab on my knee, like bam. And then when I went to jab, I didn't get back up. I was down for the count. So it was just like, from that injury, I kind of learned with sports, with women's sports mostly, with our bodies being different from men. Like coaches don't really build, you know how men, they go in, they do the weights, they do the legs, full body. Like coaches don't really do that for women. So that was the reason why I struggled with, my injuries, because my legs weren't strong enough. It's like you're doing all your power forward, you're going this way, you jabbing, but your legs or your ligaments are not strong enough. You're not doing full body workouts. So, that's why I suffered from the injuries that I had, because I learned later on that I had to get my body stronger.
And that was caught on video.
Yeah.
Because you said you had seen the video of it.
Yeah. So, and then I think in college, I actually don't remember. I might have been going up and I stayed down. It's like these type of injuries is like from wear and tear. Like your legs maybe already be giving out and you don't know. Your ligaments aren't strong enough. Your body's different from other people. So you may have that one game where your body is just like, I can't take it no more. You're out. So that's kind of like how it works.
That wasn't caught on video?
It probably was. All my games were caught on video, so it probably was caught on video. But I remember when you go into the athletic trainer's room, they make you do these exercises on the side of the court. And I remember they were like, Crystal, sprint this way and sprint that way. So I did the sprint. So then they said slide. They made me do slides. It was like slide that way. When I went to do the slide, I started crying. I couldn't do it. So I was like, all right, it's over. So.
And then the meniscus?
Meniscus is not as serious as the ACL, excuse me. But that's the kind of, it just makes you stiff. You're not very mobile. You got to get in the water, exercise, like make it more mobile. So that's not really a serious injury. But
do you remember what you were doing when you had?
Not really. It's been a long time, but I know I was probably playing defense or going. My up and under was one of my favorite moves, so I probably was going up and under and stayed under. Yeah.
I know you talked about how, maybe your legs weren't as strong. You're doing all these things in basketball, but your legs might not be as strong. Could these injuries that you suffered from been prevented, hindsight 2020, or no, some of this stuff was inevitable?
Well, honestly, if you look up statistics, women get more ACL injuries than men in sports, period. It's because men are, I remember growing up, because I used to play, sports in the projects. You'll see guys like they're doing jump squats, they're trying to jump the highest, they're doing everything. They're getting their bodies, strong on the top, their legs is on the top, they're strong. But women, we're just playing sports. You know what I mean? Running, cardio is there, but the coaches, they don't really work on the physique of your body to get you strong to, last throughout these games and be strong so you won't get injured. So I definitely feel like that's a big thing with women's sports.
Do you think times have changed now and there is a focus to it, or do you see this happening to other girls possibly?
Well, I feel like times have changed a little bit. People are like super athletes now. Like everybody has this super athletes. They're doing everything possible to be the best. There's like trainers, a whole bunch of different things now. So I don't think it's the same. But I do see from time to time a lot of women still have ACL injuries. So it's possible. I haven't done any research or anything, but it's possible that there's still a lot of girls out there suffering from ACL injuries and stuff because they're just not strong enough and they're not building their bodies up. So
maybe there's somebody watching this that's currently playing basketball, women's basketball, maybe high school, going to college. Maybe they're in college now and stumbled upon this interview or paying attention to it. Is there anything you would say to somebody watching this that's currently playing basketball on the female side?
Yeah, I would say just be strong. Like, about basketball, it's just not about being the best, dribbler, the best shooter, the best, the fastest person. You got to be physically strong. When you're going into the court, you got to be ready, overall, and with your body, with your speed, with your strength. So I would just say be all the way ready. If you want to play basketball, get your legs strong, get your calves strong, do leg lifts. Just be strong so you can play. That's what I would say.
Do you see yourself, I know, and we're going to talk about the other facets of entrepreneurship and things of that nature after, but do you ever see yourself being in sports, even like later on in life, coaching maybe or something with basketball, or it's totally over for you?
No, that's over. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even watched basketball. My brother is like a basketball fanatic. Like, he's like ESPN on the go. And so it's like, he talks about games all the time and my brother gets mad. Like, it's just like, I don't really have that much interest. Like, my interest has changed. Like, due to me sometimes you're a player and you're not a coach. So I thought I'm more of a player. I love to play, but I don't think I really loved the dynamics of the game, like coaching, like that type of stuff. I just love to play. So, that's over.
Currently, do you have any children?
No children.
No children. Let's say you do have kids. Let's say you have a girl.
Yeah.
Would you let them play basketball?
Of course. Of course she's going to play basketball. I'm going to be lost if she doesn't. I just don't. It took me it took me a long time to be a girl, so I'm going to be lost if my daughter wants to be like a girl and like wear makeup and stuff, which is cool because I like it now, but I would prefer her to be a tomboy first. But if she's not, I'm going to be kind of sick, but it's okay. We're going to just have to, work on that, get her in some type of sport,
But you would be okay with her playing basketball?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I would love for her to play basketball, of course.
Now, I want to ask you this, still on the topic of school here. So you choose Rutgers, right, to do the walk-on half scholarship situation. Did you have opportunities for a full scholarship from other D1 schools or lower tier schools?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of offers, but I thought I was so good. I'm like, I don't want to take my SAT over. I'm gonna go wherever it's at. I'm gonna kill it, and I'm gonna go D1. Like, I'm just like, but the thing is, a lot of players don't know that you have to have good grades as well. Like SAT scores, that factors into a lot. So I missed my opportunity a lot because of my SAT scores, because I thought I was the girl, and that, that ain't even matter. Like, they gonna see me and, like, it's lit. So, I kind of missed out a couple of opportunities because I didn't want to take my SAT over.
Did you make the right decision making, hindsight 2020, with that Rutgers decision instead of other schools, perhaps?
I never regret anything I do because it's made me the person that I am. So I don't think so. I think it was a great experience. I was able to play amongst girls at, a higher level, and it made me feel like, dang, I can play with them. Like, I'm good. So it's like, I wouldn't regret that because I got to play with some of the best.
And you played power forward?
Yeah, power forward, shooting guard.
That was your position in high school and college? Was it one position more than the other?
Well, when I got to the D2 school, they made me into a power forward. I wasn't jacking it, but and they were just like, you're big and we're going to use you. We need your body in the middle of the court. You're big. So it was just like, all right, whatever. So
high school, it was more so shooting guard?
Yeah.
And Rutgers, it was shooting guard?
Because it's like, it was a different level of basketball, so everybody's big here. So it's not like I'm a giant. Everybody's like walking around huge. So.
What led to basketball originally for you?
Well, like I said, I grew up in the South Bronx. There's not a lot of sports. You ain't got no football fields outside. They really have baseball. I am Puerto Rican. There was some people playing baseball, but they was playing it on, the basketball court in weird places. So it's like I cling to what was like really around me. On my brother's side of the family, which is also my family too, they all were like sports, basketball. My brother's dad's best friend was Early Manigault, so it's like I grew up around a lot of basketball players, so it's just like if I didn't play, they were gonna be like, oh, you're lame.
Did either of your parents play basketball themselves?
Well, my mom ran track. My dad's like a super athlete. He plays sports, but he never, like, basketball just wasn't like his main sport. Like, he swims, he does all type of, he's a forest man, you know, he does all type of crazy stuff.
And were you able to have the same jersey number throughout high school and college? Or?
No, that was sucky. But my number was 33. Then when I went to college, I was 45. That was the wackest number ever. But I picked 45. So I was like 33 and 45 my whole career.
What were the meanings behind those numbers?
I don't know. I just kind of just went with it. I just really never, the number that, everybody had Jordan numbers, so I was just like left to be like, all right, whatever. I'll just take, 33, I guess.
And that prep school you went to, regional, state, national competitions you guys were able to do?
Mm-hmm. I played in a Disney tournament, one of the biggest tournaments with prep schools and high schools, with all of the biggest people in the region or divisions everywhere. We got killed, but I got a chance to play. That was cool.
Did you play any other sports, or that was the only one for you?
Well, I played soccer for like 7 days, and then I quit. Yeah. So.
That was in high school too?
No, that was in college. I played what happens is when you get to college and different schools, they see your height and then they think you can play every sport. They're like, oh, you're tall, try cross country. Oh, you're big, won't you play soccer? And then like the seasons is soccer season before basketball season, so it's just like, okay, maybe I can stay in shape if I play another sport before basketball season comes. So it's kind of like, let me try something, but soccer wasn't it.
Now, how does that work if you're already, and that wasn't Rutgers, that was the
Felician College.
The Felician College. So if you're already on full scholarship and you play this soccer, and let's say you were good and you end up playing soccer for real, do you get any bonuses aside from just staying in shape? Do you get any money incentives?
It's totally really up to the school. Divisions of school, like the bigger the division, they're not gonna jack it. It's just like, okay, you're here for this. So like smaller division, they can kind of like talk to the other coach and say, hey, we want Crystal to play, here. Soccer and basketball kind of goes in, the seasons go in, so they may say, hey, we need her for this amount of time, can she start basketball preseason a little bit later? She's already in top shape. So it's like they communicate a little bit, smaller schools communicate, together to use the athlete for different sports, but bigger schools are kind of like, nah, that's not why she's here, so.
And you didn't like soccer, or you just were not good at it?
I didn't like soccer. I didn't want to get kicked in my shins. I kept running. I couldn't score. I hated it. So I didn't like it.
And what year was this when they have you try out the soccer stuff? This was sophomore, junior, senior?
I think it might have been my second year.
Sophomore?
Yeah, I was pretty fresh to the school.
That Venetian school, does that school have a reputation? Schools have reputations.
Well, this was a Catholic school. It was very strict. Like, our parties were over at 12 o'clock. We had, we had like church for class one time. It's a part of the, everything. It's just like real different. But I never was a Catholic. Once again, I just went there to play basketball, so I just went with everything they said to do. It was a dry campus, so it was very strict. But, yeah.
So because you weren't Catholic, would you still participate in the church and religious activities?
Yeah, you have no choice. It's mandatory. This is it's mandatory. You can't go to a Catholic school and not be a part of their thing. So it's kind of like you're texting and you're just there. So it's that kind of thing.
Care to share what religion you are?
I'm a Christian. I have a lot more of God to find, but I believe in God. He's been there for me in a numerous amount of ways. So.
Did it feel weird to do these activities at a Catholic school when you're not considered Catholic?
It did, but I really did. I just ignored it. Like, I'm a focused type of person. Like, okay, I'm here to play basketball. I'll be in class probably reading a book about something else when they got all this stuff going on. Like, I've never really paid attention. I did the bare minimum to pass. Like, I was just literally there to play basketball, so.
Do they have sororities at that school or no?
Yeah, they did have some, but if you kind of get caught in that, you kind of expelled.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
You didn't join one?
No, I was never. They tried to get me so many times, but I'm not a sorority. They would be like, Crystal, like, join. This is a sisterhood. Like, they would try to get you, and I'm like, no, I can do my own thing.
But these sororities, they were on campus or they were off campus?
No, a lot of kids, some kids stay on campus, some people don't, but they still have their sorority. So what happens is you have to do all these things to be, I just felt like, why do I have to do all these things to be a part of a sisterhood? Like, if you're my sister, you're my sister. Like, so I didn't feel like I didn't wanted to do all these things to put a brand on myself. Like, I'm just like, I'm not doing all this stuff. You guys want me to wear black, not eat, do this. Like, I'm not doing all of that,
Talking about like the hazing or...
Yeah, it's a lot of different stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff. One of my roommates was actually doing it, and I've seen her, like, starve herself. She couldn't eat. Like, they would have them in lines outside, like, doing all type of crazy stuff. So I definitely was not interested, yeah.
Initiation type stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm confused about. If the school, if they caught you doing it, but then this stuff was on campus?
Yeah, but you got to think about it. They do things. It depends on the school mostly. Here in Georgia, they have sororities, but they probably don't know the type of things that they're doing. Like, but it's a lot of different things they do in the light and then they do in the dark. So in the dark, you'll see and like one of my coaches, I remember, he's like, why did I see Didi at 5 in the morning in all black in front of the cafeteria standing there? And I'll just be like, well, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Maybe she's going through something. Like, so it's like, it's a lot of different things that, they have to do.
I see.
Yeah.
And what major did you end up choosing?
Well, I did marketing and management, which is, by God, is great because it's like now all the stuff I'm doing now, it's like a lot of people like, Crystal, like, how do you know how to do this stuff? I think college actually helped a little bit. I'll admit that. So.
Now, would you say it was easy or hard to complete that degree?
No, it's pretty easy because it was interesting. Like, I did a business plan. I had to write a business plan. I think I was in my sophomore year or junior year on an idea I had. I think I built like a club in a circle. So I always been very creative. So I got a chance to put something together. And, what happens is if you get an A+ or not, he sends it out to a company or a hedge fund manager or something, and they'll test it. And then you'll know like your business idea can actually be, can work. So I was really interested into more of the marketing classes than the accounting classes because I don't really like math. But yeah.
So did you choose this major, again, hindsight, we're looking at this and analyzing, but did you choose this major because it was an easy major to choose to get by for your basketball necessity, or this was the major you really wanted to do?
Well, I'm going to keep it real. I just picked it because it was the only one that made sense, and they didn't have physical education. Like, at first it's like, when you play sports, it's just like, nothing else matters. Like, I don't see me being anything else. I'm going to be a basketball player. Like, that's it. But it's like, okay, marketing and management sounds cool. I like marketing. And, I like management. And everything else is like, I felt like that was the easiest thing to do, but it actually helped me, like, now here today with the small things that I know. So it's pretty cool.
And that's the thing that, I always wonder is, especially when you see, let's say somebody, not in your case, because you got injured that senior year and you didn't continue on with the sport, but you see people like, for example, Andrew Luck of the Indianapolis Colts, and that's football. I don't know if you're paying attention to that story, but, here he is. He retires very early in his quarterback starting career compared to other notable quarterbacks in football. And it's like, okay, if you got an easy degree in college and you didn't take college on the academic side serious, and now you're done with this sport early, might be in a stuck position. Yeah,
that's a big thing because it's like coming from New York and the Bronx, there's not a lot of things going on. So sports is like your only way out, but they're not, really programming you to, like, what if that doesn't work out? Like, what you gonna do now? So it's like, it's not a lot of what you're gonna do now is going on. So it does leave you're right about that. It does leave a lot of people, like, lost, trying to find a new being, a new, what am I gonna do?
And then on the flip side, do you think, and I would assume so, but you could tell me if I'm mistaken or not, but maybe there are also people that maybe they're okay in the sport that they get an academic scholarship in, but maybe they take the academics really serious and they're just using I can play this sport and get by with it, but I'm really here for the academics and the free ride and take advantage of the academic side.
I say that's a small percentage. I'm going to keep it real, because I've been around a lot of different athletes, and all they live and breathe is this sport. Like, they've been watching TV and looking at magazines and watching videos with these people who they idolized, and that's what they want. So it's very few. But, due to you saying that, too, is like, that's why my brand, Live Free, means a lot to me, because it's just like, you got to really figure out, it takes you some time to figure out what you want to do, but as long as you really take your time out to figure out what you want to do, be positive in what you're doing, and attack it on all levels. You can literally live free and figure out what you want to do, but you got to believe, and it takes time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's still taking me time. So it takes time from being focused on the sport your whole life to now trying to figure out what am I gonna do now. So that also has a big reason with my brand. So it's crazy you say that.
And what was your GPA?
Well, my GPA, I'm not gonna lie, it was just passing. Like, I had did everything to just pass, but I'm not gonna lie, my social studies, like my creative classes, I got all A's in. But when we got to math, C's. You know what I mean? Everything with C's, accounting, C's. Everything with math, science was C. Anything else that was creative, sociology, psychology, all those type of classes, that kind of thing had my interest. But anything with science and math, it was kind of like, all right, you just got to pass, I forgot what they call it, stay alive C or something like that.
But you did graduate. You walked and everything.
Yeah, I walked. I graduated.
What was that feeling like?
It was great, because it's kind of like, my mom's first child, and I graduated. And my dad's, I was the first out of my parents' children to graduate, and I did it all by myself. No help with tuition. I worked in Foot Locker. I worked in little jobs. Like, I did whatever I had to do, and I finished it all by myself. So it was an amazing feeling. I felt like, okay, you can finish college, you may not play sports, but you're gonna figure it out. Like, this is great.
Now, explain the tuition part, because you did get a scholarship, right? A free ride.
Yeah.
But you still have to pay out of pocket for certain things?
Yeah, and the thing is like, sometimes you can get a free ride, but it isn't necessarily as full. And then you still got to take care of yourself. Just because you don't have to pay for books, you still got to eat. You may have, like, meal plans, but by the time the kitchen is closed or your meal plans is up, you still, got to eat. You still got to take care of yourself. Buy clothes, you want to go out, you want to hang out. So it's like, once you get to college, it's kind of like you're an adult now.
You did have it was a full scholarship, though?
Yeah.
Okay. And I also want to clarify one thing in this interview so far is there was a time when that second ACL injury, when you were rehabilitating, you did like the first 3 months, and then you took some time off. You said there was some depression or something of that nature. And I guess you had to end up doing it on your own, a rehabilitation period time on your own to get back right. I imagine your scholarship, I imagine the school is paying for the recovery and the rehabilitation and stuff like that at first, that first 3 months, but when you do it on your own, that's something you gotta come out of pocket.
It's like, once you leave school, they don't care about you no more. It's just like, oh, you're injured? Okay, peace. It's just like, it's nothing in the contract that says, okay, you're injured, we have to take care of you. Like, you can go to, if you're in college that semester, you can go to the athletic trainer. They'll do exercises with you. But it's like, once you go home, it's like, use your insurance. it's like you're dead now.
I see.
Yeah.
And that's what helps take care of it is your own personal health insurance?
Yeah, your own personal health insurance. Like, you know, it just depends. Like, if you're at these bigger colleges, things are different. But once you're, like, injured, you're not on, you know, on the team anymore, you got to find a way.
And that senior year when you get injured with that meniscus situation, they still end up, they don't deduct any of that scholarship because of that injury.
No, it's kind of like you can't play, so it's like we can't cover you. It's just like, okay, let's say if you got one semester here, we're going to cover you for this semester, but they're not going to renew it the next year because you're injured.
I see.
Yeah, so.
And because that was senior year, it didn't really matter at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just curious about that.
Okay.
And let's see. I guess that's it for my college questions there. Let's continue on with these other questions I have.
Some smart water.
So I guess to the point where you're at now, you graduate high school, kind of fill in the gap there. Okay, you worked at Foot Locker while you were in college there. Mm-hmm. You graduate, then what happens? Fill in that gap from, and you were doing. Well, when did that Straight Stunting magazine portion come in?
This is the thing. Like at the college, I had worked at Starbucks for like 4 weeks, I think. And I had an issue with my manager. He said I was supposed to be on the schedule and I didn't show up, but I really wasn't, so I quit and I, walked out. So then I'm like, dang, now what I'm gonna do? Like, like I'm on my own, I'm taking care of myself, this is at the college, nobody's calling me back, what am I gonna do? So, I got an opportunity to, like one of my good friends was like, hey, come out, I'm gonna show you how to do this. Like, so it's like, okay, I started doing editing for a magazine. I was still a tomboy. Like, I was just trying to figure out, all right, what's my next step? I still was applying to jobs and stuff like that, but none had came in, so I was just like, dang, you got to do something. You got to make some extra cash. So I started, like, editing the magazine. I was getting paid for that.
Now, I don't understand. There's an open position for an editor at this magazine?
Oh, no. One of my friends owned the magazine. Okay. One of my friends owned the magazine. And I called him like, yo, I just quit. I'm mad. Like, what am I going to do? Like, he's like, oh, just come here. I'm going to show you how to do this. So it definitely was an opportunity. It wasn't just like an ad because I didn't know anything about editing at all. So it was an opportunity. I was about 18 years old just trying to figure it out, and I took it. But I still, eventually I wound up getting a job or whatever.
I'm confused because you said 18 years old, but when you graduate college, you would be, what, 22?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm wrong then. I probably was about 22.
Okay. Okay. Just curious, for chronological purposes
Oh,
here.
yeah, you're right. That's a lot of different, that's a gap.
So have you tried? Because, you always hear conversations of people saying, oh, yeah, they graduated and got a degree, but they're not using their degree. They can't get a job still with a degree. You hear people argue that line there. Have you been able to use, now you're using your degree in a way because your entrepreneurial side of things, but have you been able to put your degree to use in the workforce? You have.
Of course. I was a personal banker for Chase Bank for about three years, like top banker in the Bronx. Like, so it's just like I chose to go. If I want to go work for corporate America, I can go work for corporate America, but that's not what I want to do.
But you were able to see that degree can be put to use, and it wasn't an issue.
It can be put to use, but at the same time, I went to school for marketing and management, and I wound up doing finance. It's somewhere close, but sometimes people don't do exactly what they go to college for. So you just never know what direction you're going to go into at the college.
And that's why some people may argue and say, college is a waste, college is a trap, college is a finesse. You hear the argument, people saying, hey, I'm making more money than somebody that went to college
It's a fact.
And they got a degree and I didn't.
Yeah.
So you'll hear, those type of arguments, and then you'll hear the opposite too,
Sure. I definitely think that it's just society, like, especially, you know, in the Bronx and New York, it's just like you got to go to college. You got to really let kids kind of figure out what they want to do. Some people is not getting scholarships. They taking out loans. Now they're finishing 2 years of college. They owe $50,000 because they're taking out, you know, financial aid checks to buy stuff. And now, 4 years later, they almost owe $100,000 in loans, and they don't even know what they want to do. So it's just like, let them work, let them get some experience, you know, let them figure out what they want to do. Like college, going to college does not make you successful. You make you successful. Like what you want to do. That's going to make you following your goals, living free. You know, that's what's going to make you successful. And I think that's the problem. So hopefully, you know, a lot more people get into doing what they want to do, finding their passions, and not forcing the kids just to go to college to, you know, find some type of organized success. So it's like.
So let me ask you this then, right? If you didn't do basketball and you didn't get this degree, and let's just say you didn't go to college.
Yeah.
That 3-year position at that bank, could you have gotten that straight out of high school without that degree?
Mm-mm. Like some bankers get lucky and they could have like top sales experience. Like I knew this guy, I forgot his name, but he had a 2-year degree and he landed a job as a banker. Excuse me. But it's because he had a lot of sales experience. So being a banker is just, you know, being a salesperson. So you can land an opportunity, but it's rare. You know what I mean? You gotta have a big resume.
And also, too, I forgot to ask when we were talking about the college experience and stuff. Rutgers and the Venetian?
Yeah, that's close. Felician?
Felician, okay, excuse me there. Both schools, was that a situation where you live on campus?
Yeah. I lived on campus because I wanted to get away from the Bronx. So it's just like I could have went to school in New York, you know, there's community colleges, but I wanted to get away from New York and see other things and, you know, figure out how I was going to get a big, big bag. So I got away. Yeah.
And then when it comes to the sexy side of things, right? Because there was that time where you edit this magazine and then you become, I guess, I don't know what the phrase would be. Would it be centerfold? Because you actually become, you're part of one of the issues, right? You're one of the females that's featured in the issue.
Yeah, my name used to be, I changed my name a couple of times. I used to be Crystal Ferrari. But, yeah, that was my name. But there's a difference I seen money. Like, that was my thing. I'm just like, all right, I'm seeing these girls getting booked for parties. I'm seeing these girls with their own collars, their own merch. And I'm sitting here editing it, and they're getting more money than me. So, like, why can't I do this? So I'm like, yo, I asked my friend, like, yo, what's up? Like, I want to make some more money. Let me do this. And he's like, you sure? So then he like thought about it for like 2-3 weeks, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna let you do it.
And you were still tomboy at that.
Yeah.
At that point.
That's at the time where like people wasn't wearing, you know, girls are all beat now. Their makeup is on. That's when you really had to be like kind of fine. Like the makeup wasn't like bam. Like the wigs was whack. Like, like you really had to be kind of like fine to really model. You had to have. It was some fake bodies out. No, nothing against the fake bodies, but you kind of had to be fire to really do it. So it's just like, okay. So when I first started doing it, one time I was in Harlem, and this guy was just like, yo, Ferrari. And I'm looking, so I'm just like, oh, am I like a jail celebrity now? So I started noticing like people in New York started like stopping me in the street, but I wasn't rich, nothing like that. So I still was taking the train and, you know, getting in cabs and stuff. So it's like people would stop me and be like, oh, wow, you look just like your pictures. Like, so I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm getting lit. Okay. Like, so.
And you were natural as far as your body.
Oh, yeah, I've never got anything done. Just a couple of weaves, some makeup.
But no body parts, no.
Nah, no body parts.
And when you were editing for Straight Stuntin', what was your actual role editing?
Well, I typed a lot.
Okay.
I didn't do a lot of the pictures because I wasn't really too good with Adobe Shop and stuff, but I did a lot of the typing and a lot of just the just big titles. They did more of the physical writing and stuff like that.
And because you started going in this lane, and then I imagine after the magazine, the music video opportunities and stuff come after that?
Yeah.
Was there any point, and you were in New York at that time.
Yeah.
Was there, and I know like, okay, in New York they have exotic dancers, but they also have bartenders that are making just as much money as the exotic dancers, if not more.
Yeah.
Was there any thought on maybe going in that lane at any given time?
I actually did. Like I told you, I've always been that, like you, like Crystal, I see you do so much stuff. I've always been that person, like a hustler, like, hey, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna make money while I'm figuring it out. So I've definitely, you know, been a bartender and now that lifestyle too, because you know why, it was money there. So I definitely have a lot of experience in that.
What about exotic dancing?
Oh, no exotic dancing. I can't even dance, honestly. So no, shout out to, I got a lot of dancer friends, so shout out to the hustle, but I can't dance. I mean, I can't dance for nothing.
No porn.
No porn. No porn or dance. That's type nasty. But no disrespect to the porns. I'm here for all the hustles, but I can't dance and I ain't doing porn.
Rated R Pictures was as far as it got.
Rated R, but I always covered my, you know, down there and my stuff up here, you know.
I see.
Kept it cute.
Just curious. And I know some choose those lanes. You never were tempted in those lanes. The exotic dancing or porn, you were never tempted. That was a no from jump?
Like honestly, the exotic dancing thing when I moved to Atlanta had came in my mind for 1 second. But I just felt like, all right, Crystal, like at the end of the day, I get to, like, not to say strippers are not smart, because I have a lot of stripper friends. I'm just like, you don't have to do that to be successful. Like, you're like, use your brain. Like that's, it just was not for me. So I made a stern decision, like, okay, this is not for me. I never tried it once. It crossed my mind a few times because one of my homegirls came to live here from Texas. In 6 months, she comes to pick me up in a pink Bentley. And my old entrepreneur ass is going to sell drinks at the bar. And she's picking me up living in Atlantic Station in a pink Bentley. So I'm like, yo, I want to shake my ass too. But I'm like, nah, you can't even dance. So that's not for you. So it's just like certain, you got to really know what's for you and what's not for you. Like, so I mean, you always think, but I always thought, but I just knew it wasn't for me because I don't like people touching me, first of all. I like to just look amazing. I don't like to be like physically there where people can have access to me. So it wasn't for me.
I see.
Yeah.
And bartending, how much time did you spend with that situation?
Well, I was a bartender and a waitress for about 5 years. That's even with a day gig, even with, I just threw a big party last week besides from that. But even with having a day job and hustles, like bartending was my bread and butter. Like after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you know what? I'm about to go in here and make a quick little $500 on a good night, $1,000. All I'm doing is serving drinks. So it's just like people could say, okay, you're in a leotard, with your ass out, but they can't go nowhere and make $300, $500, $1,000 and make a drink. So I'm like, I don't care about what they say. Like I need my money from my makeup line. I need to fix these things. I want a t-shirt line. I want these huge big things that I want. So I gotta work. So I kept doing it. I saved a lump sum of money, and now I'm like, what's up with my goals? Now I'm living free.
I see. Are there people that do bartending and that lifestyle there and do that full time and no hustles and that's just?
I have friends like, I say one thing about the nightlife, you gotta be very ambitious because you're going into a place and you don't know. Nobody's paying you per hour. Clubs, and I work in strip clubs, regular clubs, they're not paying you per hour. You're going in there and you hustling, but you hustling drinks. So it's just like, you gotta keep checking on these people, see if they want drinks, you want a bottle. Like you're really in control of how much money you want to get paid. So a lot of bartenders and people who work are really entrepreneurs. Like they're really, really ambitious. So I have a lot of respect for those kind of people because they're going out there at night and they don't know how much money they're gonna make. But they're out there and they're giving it their all to pay their bills or whatever they want to do.
Was there ever a thought on doing that full time and saying, forget the hustle stuff?
Nah, no, because I just knew that I had a bigger purpose in life. So I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna make this money until I find out what's my next step. So it was not, I never wanted to be like a lifetime bartender. Like, I don't even like making drinks, honestly. I just get people the simplest drinks. If they ask for mixed drinks, I just act like, oh, somebody messed up the drink. Like